Hi, Tech and Talk. Local function is a very powerful feature introduced in C Sharp 7. Let me show you how. To show you guys, let's create an example and we will have a to list in this function. List 1 will have few members or objects, and for now let's take the object string objects inside those lists. And let's say we have employee 1 and employee 2, employee 3, and same contents. We can, let's say, copy paste this list. um, and now we have list 2, and list 2 has employee 4, 5 and 6. Okay. Yeah, and now uh, we want to replace that emp string from those strings. For that one, what I will do is use for each function. And here, first of all, what we can use console.writeLine, and to remove emp we can uh, use item dot replace, and we can do emp should be replaced with string dot empty, and we can print the new item. And if we run the code, you will see that we will have 1 2 3 printed on the console. Okay, yeah. uh, you can see that we have 1 2 3 in the console. That is fine. And we want, if we want to do the same thing for the other list, we can utilize the same loop, but we can just change the list reference to list 2, and everything should be working fine. So uh, we will have counting from 1 to 6 now. So, and then this is, we have implemented a single function, and if we look into this code, there are a couple of chunks which are repeating, right? And if we move those chunks out of this function as a separate function, that does not make any sense, because we don't want this as a separate function. So in such situations where we can refactor a code inside a function and we want to separate our repeating chunk from in within that specific function, what we can do is we'll create a local function inside that function. Let's say we have a void, and it shouldn't have the access specifier, because its scope is going to be only within that function, right? So we don't need that one. We will have a return type, and we need to give that function a name. Let's say we can name it print list, and we need to pass list of string list 1, and here we can move that chunk inside that function. right? And we can just utilize print list function for the two times, and we will passing list 1 and list 2 to that function. So now you can see that the repeating code is removed, and it looks much better from visual perspective as well as the size of the function, and the output is the same. From 1 to 6 we have counting on the console. So this is how local function can be used to improve the code, and the we can use the code from within that specific function. Next concept that were introduced in C Sharp 8 was the static local function, and the use case of that one is we don't want to access any of the variables from within the main function inside that local function. So what I mean by that is, although we are passing a list, what we can do is we can still access the variables out of that local function. Let's say list 2 dot add invalid access, just to give you guys an idea. And if we want to print, you will see that we have two records for invalid access as well. So if we want that local function should not be, accessing any of those variables from within the main function, we need to make that one as static. So as soon as we put the static keyword, we will have compile time error, and it says that a static local function cannot contain a reference to list 2. So any kind of variable declared inside that main function will not be accessed from within that static local function. It should have its own local variables and its own logic. It can only return or print the, from within that function. So these are the uh, two variations of local function. First was introduced in C Sharp 7, and the other one was in C Sharp 8. And the main purpose is to make our code manageable and refactored and well, structured. So in case of any question queries, to ask in the comments. If you have any specific scenario to discuss, you can mention. I will try to reply, or if it makes sense, I will create another video on that particular use case. So that was all for this video. Thanks for watching, and keep coding.